My parents called me stingy for wanting to save my first paycheck. Now they demand a cut of every dollar I earn, even for water and gas. Original post. Okay, so I, 16 female, just got my first job like a month ago. Last week, I got my first ever paycheck, which was really exciting. Now one of the main reasons I got a job was so I could cover some of my own non-essential expenses. Clothes, stuff for hobbies, room decor, some food. Since my mother, 52 female, is a stay-at-home mom, always has been, and I didn't want to be a burden for my father, 56 female. Before I even got my first paycheck, I had budgeted exactly how much I wanted to spend and what I wanted to spend it on, since I didn't want to blow it all. My plan was to save at least half and spend what I didn't save. I'll admit, I did spoil myself a bit, got some new clothes, a new sewing machine, and I'm gonna have my nails done. All of this was only approximately $180 out of $500. But I also gave a portion to the church, as per my mother's request. I planned to put the rest of this in savings and not touch it. My mother is terrible with money, like, blow through $800 in one day type of terrible. She's also always asking someone in my family for money like my dad, or my siblings, 22 male and 21 female, and usually they give it to her. But my sister's rent has gone up and her work hours have been cut, so she doesn't have money to give out like she used to. And my brother isn't working because he's only home for the summer. My father also has some new expenses to pay, so, basically, nobody has handouts for her anymore. So she decided to come to me. Since I first received my paycheck, she's been acting kind of weird. Like when I got it, she wouldn't leave me alone until I told her how much it was, even though I wasn't comfortable sharing that information with anyone. And then she started talking about how, in her culture, I'm a first-gen American, the entirety of a child's first paycheck is given to the parents as an offering, and a way to show thanks for raising them. I told her that, it's a good thing I wasn't born where she was, so I don't have to do that, and I thought she would stop. But then she brought up how it's been so long since she got a pedicure. It's been literally 3 weeks. I said okay, and then she asked me if I would pay for it. I gave her $30, how much our regular nail salon charges for pedicures, and she got upset and said it wasn't enough. I told her that I didn't have any more to spare, and she said I was being greedy. Okay, whatever. Then we went grocery shopping, which she paid for, as usual, with my brother's EBT card. I got a few snacks, max ingredients, and my food came up to like $27, which isn't bad since I share my snacks with my siblings, and I cook for them too. But then, my mother starts complaining like, if you're gonna eat all that, then you're gonna have to start paying for it too. It's rude to try and bankrupt your brother. I was upset that she was making comments on my eating habits. She's always making comments about my body, and also frustrated that she was trying to milk more money out of me, so I just told her to put all my snacks and stuff down and that I didn't need them really anyway. She got even more upset and said I was making a scene and being spoiled, but I just ignored her. The thing is though, it's not just her. My father is acting like this too. First I took a shower. I do take kind of long showers, like usually 30-ish minutes. But this was never a problem until now. He literally stormed into the bathroom. Like he actually slammed the door open, super uncomfortable for me but WTVR, and told me that if I was going to be wasting his water then I was going to have to start pitching in for the water bill, and he was serious. So now I don't shower when he's home to avoid conflicts like this. And then, he told me to give him $50 to send to his family back home. I asked if he would pay me back, and he said he shouldn't have to, since he's never asked me to pay him back for raising me. Basically, I don't know. Maybe I'm actually just being too stingy? They're not wrong that they never asked me to pay them back for raising me, so maybe I owe it to them? But also, like, I really don't make that much, and I think I should be allowed to spend my money how I want to. I'm literally going into my senior year, which is so expensive already, and I don't want to spend all my money in the case of an emergency. I just really want to save, and they're not letting me do that. But IDK if they're entitled. Or maybe I am. Sorry if this is too long. Ada. OMG. I don't know how I forgot this, since this was actually really upsetting and the whole reason I made this post. But like a few days ago, I fell asleep on the couch. Or with my phone unlocked, I guess. And like right after I dozed off, I feel someone grab my phone, which was next to my head. And so I wake up, and I look at her all confused and ask her to give it back, and she did. But she forgot, or doesn't know how, to close recently used apps. So when I opened the phone, I saw that she had opened the Zelle app. I don't want to accuse her of anything, but I feel like if I'd woken up any later, she probably would have sent herself money or something. IDK. But that was really weird. Ida 2. This has nothing to do with my title story. But my mother just told me I was disappointed because I told her I would vacuum later since I have really bad cramps right now. Rude. Edit. I took a break from this post because I was overwhelmed by all the comments and advice. But thanks everyone for reading and, mostly, being patient and helpful. To respond to a couple things I keep seeing, clearing things up. Sorry that it's a tough pill for me to swallow that a bunch of strangers on the internet are calling my parents abusive. I'm not saying anyone's wrong or right, and I seriously appreciate that you're all trying to help. But I'm not refusing solutions, or, it's just a lot to handle by myself. I'm kind of against talking to a trusted adult about all this. But it's not willful ignorance or anything. I don't have any close family, so the only options would be a therapist or a school counselor. I can't see a therapist because my mother is anti-therapy, and talking to a school counselor is risky because she's required to tell CPS, and a case like that would put my mother at a pretty high risk of deportation. It's pretty personal and I don't want into it. But there's that. I know it sounds like I'm being forced, but I am seriously a practicing Christian, and I enjoy giving to the church. I never minded giving to the church. It was just that the amount I was expected to give, 10% of my pay, was a lot considering what I was earning. Relevant comments. Comment 1. If you have another adult in your life that you trust, get them to open an account with you because your parents will take the money you put into your savings account, if their names are on it, and there will be nothing you can do to stop them. Oop. My father's name is on my account. Does this mean he has access to my money? Comment 2. Also that he can enter the bathroom. Can't you lock? Do you have somebody to talk to? Oop. I'm now allowed to lock any of the doors in the house. They think that means I'm hiding something. And IDK who I would talk to. I don't think they're abusive. They're actually nice to me quite often. Money is just one thing they're not nice about. My dad came from a less fortunate background and my mom is used to being spoiled. She's the youngest girl of like 13 siblings and her family comes from money. Comment 3. Sounds like you're rejecting all sensible solutions. What is your end goal? Oop. I don't know, but I'm literally just scared. Everyone's saying that my parents are being abusive, which is something I've never really thought before, and telling me to move my money and defend myself, which is all easier said than done. I seriously appreciate the solutions, and I wish it were that easy, but put yourself in my shoes for a second. I know my parents and I know how they'll react and what that can mean for me, which is why I might be apprehensive about some of the solutions I've been given. Update 1. It's been a while. I kind of stopped replying to comments and stuff because they were getting kind of overwhelming, but thanks to everyone who took the time to respond. If you didn't read, don't feel like it. Basically, I got my first job and my first paycheck, $500. And my parents felt like all of my money was rightfully theirs. Long story short, I ended up with $180 left of $500. And only approximately $100 of those dollars were towards myself. Now for the actual update. So since my last paycheck, nothing has gotten better at all, lol. I ended up giving up a total of like $200 to my parents for whatever they wanted, but they still wanted more? First, I had to pay for my own senior pictures, which was cool, or WTVR, but kind of surprising because none of my siblings ever had to do that. Then they started asking me for gas money. Like, I had to go to the library, which is probably a 2-minute drive from my house. I would have walked, but I'm literally not allowed to lol. And my mother was yelling at me and saying that, if I was going to use her car, then I was going to have to put gas in it. Which would be reasonable, except they don't make anyone else do that. Like my 22-year-old brother actually drives their car and my mother gives him money out of my father's paycheck to put gas in it. But he's her favorite, so I guess it makes sense. Also, my father kept calling me stingy. Like, every day. Like I would just be sitting, eating dinner, and he would come to me and be like, my daughter good at so many things but so stingy. And it started getting to me, so I would try and explain that I didn't have any more money until I got paid again. Then I got paid yesterday. It was like $500 again, and I was trying to hide it. Like I transferred the money from my bank account to my Cash App, so that my father wouldn't see that I had any money, and if they asked, then I could play dumb. But today when I got home, my parents started interrogating me. Like they were asking me how if I got paid, or if I knew how much I was going to get paid, and I was lying and saying no. But then my father literally pulled out a paper copy of my pay stub, LOL. My job still mails those out, and my parents open all my mail, packages, college letters, school forms, etc. So unless I'm constantly intercepting the mail, they might always know how much I'm getting paid. Then my mother was mad at me because last paycheck I paid for her pedicure and now she wants a manicure and her hair done. I tried to tell her I didn't have money, but she refused to believe that and said that if I couldn't give her money, then I couldn't eat the food she worked so hard to make. She cooked today. So I just gave her $80 for her nails cause I'm over arguing. This is kind of a sidetrack, but it's important. But my parents are arguing right now. My father is spending significantly more money out of all of his paychecks because of something that my SAM committed them to financially. But the thing is that she still expects to be able to keep up with all of her self-maintenance, clothes, nails, hair, etc. Long story short, she said that she didn't need his money anyway, and so when I sent her the money for her nails, she was bragging to him about how I gave her money and not him. So then my father was upset because he thinks I only sent her money because we're both women. He said it is kind of harsher than that. He has misogynistic tendencies because of the culture he was raised in. So I ended up just giving him $80 to even it out, and I gave them both $30 extra for gas money, so they would stay off my ass. It should be over, right? No, it's not. Because I got in trouble for lying about getting paid. They think I'm lying because I plan on blowing it all on myself, which isn't true. I was gonna save this check to make up for what I spent on the last one. But now they think I'm selfish, stingy, and financially irresponsible. So they're gonna start limiting my spending of my own money. And the school year and my birthday are around the corner. And I'm pretty sure they're not gonna let me go out to dinner for my birthday like I planned. But that's not a money thing. I'm just not really allowed to go out. There's so much more I could say about my parents, but that could probably be 15 different posts. And IDK if they'd even be appropriate for this sub lol. But thanks for reading, if you do. I'm sorry if this does not make a lot of sense, I'm just really tired. Like I'm over this whole thing. I wish I had somewhere else to vent, but I literally don't. Relevant comments. Comment 1, I'd quit. Or find another trusted adult and tell them about your parents' behavior. Oop. I would, but I have absolutely no family and I'm not allowed to see like a therapist, sure counselor. Comment 2. What ethnicity are you? Defo sounds South Asian ICL. This is so on brand, OOP, African Caribbean, mostly African. Comment 3. A school counselor, FFS, please. Your parents are so immature. You'll never be able to trust them when it comes to money. Please just talk to someone. This isn't right. Oop. I'll try, but the last time I tried to talk to a counselor, I got in huge trouble, lol. Like I couldn't go to in-person school, so I wouldn't do it again. Comment 4. Ça me dégoûte. Quel genre de classes sont-elles que vous avez à payer pour? You're a student in high school, right? There shouldn't be any other mandatory costs. Oh up. It's kind of hard to explain, but I'll try. I go to a trade high school, so the goal is to get students ready to work straight after graduation. It's not like other high schools where the goal is to get students ready for college. So, the amount of credits necessary to graduate from my school is less than most four-year universities accept. So if I want to go to a decent college or uni, I have to take extra classes. But since those aren't a graduation requirement, I have to pay for them. Like, to graduate from my school you need 3 math and no foreign language. Most colleges want at least 4 math and 1 foreign language. I'm taking a total of 6 math, 2 of them this school year, and 1 foreign language. So I have to pay for all of those. I hope this makes it clearer. This is a repost sub. I am not OP. Story 2. Am I the asshole for banning my younger sister from camping? Original post. My younger sister, female 19, has come to live with me, male 25, during her summer vacation from college. As our parents live overseas, I've sort of been tasked with looking out for her. I try not to be overly protective and aim to be a cool older brother, rather than a helicopter parent. After all, she is an adult. My sister told our parents that she planned on hanging out with her friends for a few days, and that they would not leave our city. Our parents thought it would be perfectly fine and agreed to it. The problem started when my sister told me that she actually planned to go camping with some of her friends, female 19, female 20, and female 20. I was cool with it, and asked her to keep her cell phone on her, so that she could call me if she needed to. She said that she and her friends planned on leaving behind all technology, as they wanted the fullest experience. I thought this was a bad idea, and strongly recommended that at least one of them keep a phone, to which my sister responded, "They'd think about it." The day before the planned trip, my sister said that they'd be joined by several more people, some of whom she described as a little sketchy. I told her that was a really bad idea, and that she and her friends should consider uninviting anyone they thought was sketchy. I also insisted that she take her phone. My sister flat out refused all this and said I was being too controlling. I got annoyed and said that if she wasn't willing to compromise, then she wasn't going on that trip. She started yelling at me and called our parents, telling them that I was preventing her from seeing her friends. I told them how she planned on going camping with sketchy people, and my parents also refused to let her go. After the call ended, my sister started yelling at me again, and said I was annihilating her social life. ATA. Verdict. Not the asshole. Relevant comments. Commenter, YTA. You can advise her, but you have absolutely no right to tell your legally adult sister what she can and cannot do. If you don't want her to stay with you because you don't like the choices she makes, do that. But you absolutely are being controlling. It doesn't even matter if you're right. You don't get to make choices for her. YTA. Oop. I don't want to control my sister's life, and would never think of kicking her out. I do, however, feel that I should be able to stop her from walking into a potential bad situation, with no way to call for help. Commenter. Not the asshole for being concerned about your sister. I always have my cell phone with me when I leave the house in case of an emergency. I think it's pretty funny though, you think you can forbid or prevent your adult sister from doing what she wants. It's even funnier your parents think they can when they live overseas. What's the plan? To lock her in a room with armed guards who will tackle her if she tries to leave. Oop. I've never had to in the past because nothing she did seemed so blatantly dangerous. Update 1. My sister and her friends were supposed to head out last night, however sis never went. This morning my sis told me that 2 of her friends who planned on going canceled as well. This was because some guy in his 40s, who they had never met before, somehow inserted himself into a group of people going. Apparently, he was invited by someone. This man wanted to be the leader of the group, and planned on going somewhere more remote than was initially agreed upon. He then told my sis's friends that he would hold on to everyone's cell phone so that they could all get the most out of the trip, and technology wouldn't interfere. My sis agrees that was a little creepy, but still says I'm an ass for snitching to mom and dad, even though she was the one who called in the first place. Edit. For those wondering, we are from a socio-cultural group where kids, regardless of age, are kinda expected to listen to their parents. To their credit, our parents have never really enforced this, and have allowed us to live without too many restrictions. So long as we don't harm other people or ourselves, they wouldn't interfere too much. My sister is still dependent financially on our parents, and myself to an extent. However, I never once used this to leverage my argument. Regardless of whatever bad decision she may make or fight she may have with our parents, my door is always open to her. As of now, I'm sort of hiding in my room as my sister is still furious with me. I'll try talking to her once she cools down. Final update. I spoke with my sis and she apologized. She fully agreed that the whole thing became too sketchy. She told me that had she gone, she too would have canceled like her 2 friends when she heard what Creepo had to say. I asked my sis about the friend that agreed to go, and she too canceled after Creepo insisted that she and her BF give him their phones. Creepo then kicked them out of his car and they ended up Ubering back to town. She told me that she's afraid as Creepo has been calling some of her friends and she's scared he'll call her. I told her to give me her phone if he calls and that I'll speak with him. I do work in a police department, not a cop though, so I'm sure he'll piss the hell off once I speak with him. Relevant comments. Commenter. Holy hell, that update took a turn. I'm glad you were looking out for her. Commenter. Reading the update about the random 40-year-old man wanting to go to an even more remote location and hold everyone's phones is the biggest red flag ever. This story took a turn from sketchy to hell fuck no real fast. I'm glad some of her friends had the sense to nope out. Sounds like a potentially dangerous situation. Brother's instincts were right this time. It's fair to have a conversation about safety and situational awareness. He's not annihilating her social life, he might have just saved her life, or prevented something really bad from happening to her. Holy cow. I'm an adult and I share my location with my mom when I'm out adventuring just so someone knows roughly where I am if something happens. I still text her when I get home from a party or date. Nice to know someone's looking out for me, even though she lives in a different state. Commenter. Not the asshole. I would maybe report the creepy dude before he convinces anyone else to disconnect. Oop. I intend to. This is a repost sub. I am not the oop. Thanks for watching and sticking around till the end. If you enjoyed these stories, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next drama-filled episode.